Welcome back to the deep dive. We are jumping right into, well, the core nervous system of any healthcare practice, cash flow. For clinic owners, especially if you're running high-volume operations, think physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech-language pathology, that wait time for reimbursement. It isn't just some line item.
Oh, no, it's way more than that. It's a source of constant stress, real anxiety.
Exactly. And that anxiety, it comes from the fact that delayed payments can really strain your operating capital, right?
Absolutely. We're talking about real-world impacts here. Things like disrupting payroll, maybe delaying needed equipment purchases.
Yeah.
And it forces owners to spend valuable time chasing money instead of, focusing on patient care.
Right. When you've got patients coming back, often lots of visits, a high volume of maybe smaller claims, a slow payment cycle can almost grind things to a halt.
It really can.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. We're doing a deep dive into this administrative choice that really every modern practice has to face. Are you sticking with the old way, the paper check standard, which frankly is expensive and outdated, or are you strategically moving over to electronic funds transfer, EFT?
And, if you look at where the industry's heading, the expert consensus, it's barely even a choice anymore. It feels more like a necessary step forward.
An evolution.
Exactly. EFT enrollment, especially when you pair it with electronic remittance advice, or ERA, it's not really optional if you want to be efficient.
Right.
It's the strategic path if you want faster reimbursement, better security, and honestly, the long-term efficiency you need to actually scale your practice today.
Okay, let's unpack that. Let's start with the villain of the piece, the paper check. What are the real downsides? Things that maybe aren't immediately obvious beyond just waiting for the mail?
Yeah, the hidden costs.
What are those costs that are just eating away at the margins?
Well, the first one, and it's the most obvious, is just the sheer inefficiency of time. Transit time.
Okay.
A check's whole life cycle. From the payer, printing it, putting it in the mail, you receiving it, manually depositing it, and then waiting for it to clear the bank. That whole chain can take anywhere from, say, 7 days on the fast end, maybe up to a staggering 30 days to fully settle.
30 days. That's an eternity in business terms.
It really is. And that delay isn't just idle time, it's actively eroding your efficiency.
And I imagine if a practice is really counting on that cash for payroll, for rent, those delays could force them into some pretty expensive, maybe short-term fixes.
Precisely. We see practices having to lean on high-interest lines of credit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, just to bridge a gap created by a payment cycle that's just not predictable. And that interest, that's another hidden cost of sticking with paper.
Okay.
And that brings us to the next point, which is operational drag.
Operational drag. Tell us about that.
Okay, so every single paper check requires hands-on manual work. Someone has to open the envelope, right? Then they've got to match that check to the right explanation of benefits, the EOB. Then physically take it to the bank, or maybe use a remote scanner, which is a bit better, but still manual.
Still takes time.
Still takes time. And then, crucially, they have to manually type all that payment data into the accounting system, the practice management software.
And that sounds like a recipe for errors.
It absolutely is. It's ripe for error. Plus, it pulls your staff away from other really important things like patient scheduling or intake.
Right.
And critically, it slows down that final vital step. Reconciliation.
Wait, okay, I can see how handling the check itself is slow.
Yeah.
But isn't it actually simpler sometimes? Like, you hold the paper check, you see where the money came from. Is it really harder to reconcile than some electronic file? Why is paper reconciliation the real nightmare?
That's a great question. And honestly, it points right to the biggest bottleneck. Think about a busy therapy clinic. Physical therapy, occupational therapy, they might get one check, right? But that one check bundles payments for maybe 50 or 60 different claims.
Wow.
And that check comes with a paper EOB that, well, sometimes it's barely legible. Maybe it was faxed, it's blurry.
I've seen those.
Yeah, or it's just missing key details about why something was denied or adjusted. So trying to manually reconcile those 50 payments one by one, often with really complex prorated amounts, that's where staff productivity just completely tanks.
Okay, I see it now. That inefficiency multiplied by hundreds of claims every month. Yeah, that adds up to basically a full-time job just doing that.
Easily. Sometimes more.
All right, let's shift gears a bit to something clinic owners really worry about. Security. Paper checks just feel vulnerable.
They are. They're inherently insecure. Think about it. Paper checks have your practice's sensitive banking info, routing number, account number printed right there on the paper.
Exposed.
Totally exposed. So they're easily intercepted, easily altered. Check fraud is still a massive, massive problem.
Still, even now.
Oh, yeah. And the longer your practice insists on physically moving these documents with sensitive financial data through the mail, the greater your exposure. Both external threats like mail theft and even internal ones. It's a liability that just grows as your claim volume increases.
Okay, so that paints a pretty grim picture for paper.
Yeah.
How quickly can EFT solve this? What's the immediate, tangible benefit you feel the moment you flip that switch?
One word: liquidity. Speed is the absolute immediate benefit.
Okay.
EFT just bypasses that entire physical cycle we talked about. No mail delays, no manual deposit step, no waiting several days for the check to clear.
Right.
Instead, the funds get deposited directly into the provider's bank account, usually through the ACH network, the automated clearinghouse.
And what does that mean time-wise? Instead of weeks?
You're typically looking at receiving payments within, say, 48 to 72 hours after the payer actually releases the funds. Days, not weeks.
That kind of turnaround, that's transformative for cash flow.
Right.
You can actually plan based on revenue you have, not revenue that's maybe somewhere in the mail system.
Exactly. It changes how you operate.
But what about security? How does EFT tackle that huge vulnerability we just talked about with paper checks?
It fundamentally changes the whole risk profile. EFT transmits funds through secure, encrypted banking networks.
Okay.
You're not broadcasting your sensitive bank details on a piece of paper that anyone can handle or intercept. The data transmission protocols for electronic transfers are just significantly more secure, more auditable than sending a physical check through the mail.
So faster, much safer. But you mentioned earlier that the real intelligence boost comes from it being smarter. That has to be the pairing with electronic remittance advice, ERA. Let's get into why that combination is so powerful.
Absolutely. This is where the magic really happens. The ERA isn't just like a digital scan of a paper EOB or check stub. It's structured, standardized data. Specifically, it's usually in an ANSI 835 file format.
ANSI 835. Okay.
And that 835 file contains every detail, the payment amounts, adjustment codes, denial reasons, all in a format that's designed for computers to read easily.
And what does that mean for the actual person working in the billing office day to day?
It means automation, huge automation. Instead of squinting at a blurry paper EOB and manually typing in the payment and adjustment for, say, those 50 claims we mentioned, the 895 file can typically be uploaded directly into the practice management software. The system reads the file, automatically matches the ERA data to the claims in the system, and just posts the payments and adjustments. Auto-posting.
Whoa.
It can eliminate, sometimes up to 90% of the manual data entry needed for payment posting.
90%.
Yeah. It cuts reconciliation time down from potentially days to literally minutes. And that is the critical factor that allows a practice to actually scale efficiently.
That's a massive time saver, especially, like you said, for specialties like PT, OT, SLP. They often have those high claim volumes, lots of recurring visits, tons of little copays or small adjustments to track. So let's talk about that strategic implication. This feels like it goes way beyond just tidy bookkeeping.
Oh, absolutely. We're talking about using EFTERA as a strategic lever for actual business growth.
Okay.
For those high-volume therapy practices specifically, 3 things tend to happen almost instantly when they make the switch. First, as we discussed, liquidity just gets better right away, which means you can reliably meet those crucial obligations, paying your therapists, paying rent on time, less stress.
That makes sense.
And second
is that huge simplification of reconciliation, because the 835 file automates posting all those numerous, sometimes complex, small claims. Your billing team just gets massive amounts of time back.
Which logically leads to the third point, which I find really fascinating. Scaling. Are you saying a clinic owner might not need to hire another billing person just because they added 2 more therapists to meet patient demand?
That's the absolute core strategic benefit, yes. EFT and ERA together allow practices to grow their revenue, grow their patient volume, without having to proportionally increase their administrative headcount. That's huge.
Think about it. If your current staff spends, say, 40% of their week just manually wrestling with paper checks and EOBs, imagine what they could achieve if that time was suddenly freed up.
They could focus on, getting more money in, revenue recovery.
Precisely. Instead of chasing down a payment that should have arrived last week, they can focus on high-value work. Things like fighting denials effectively, appealing claims in a timely manner, analyzing rejection patterns, ensuring compliance, performing proactive revenue recovery audits.
The shift from being reactive paper chasers.
Exactly, to proactive practice optimizers. That kind of strategic alignment, it's just fundamentally impossible if you're still stuck in a paper check system.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly powerful, almost like a no-brainer. But, the practical reality of healthcare admin is always, well, challenging.
They're always detailed.
Right, so this raises the big question. Let's prepare our listener for actually making the switch. What are the real logistical hurdles? What should they expect? For example, how long does enrollment actually take?
Yeah, we definitely need to manage expectations here. Enrollment is not instantaneous. And the timeline can vary quite a bit depending on the payer. For some really efficient commercial payers, maybe it only takes a few business days, quick turnaround.
Right.
But for others, especially maybe some government programs or smaller regional insurance plans, it can take anywhere from 2 weeks, maybe up to 6 weeks.
2 to 6 weeks. Wow. Why the delay? What's happening during that time?
Well, they often need to do an initial verification step, mainly to prevent fraud.
Makes sense.
This usually involves the payer sending a tiny deposit like 5 cents, 10 cents, something small, a micro deposit, they call it.
I've seen that with online bank setups.
Exactly the same principle. They send it to the bank account you provided on the form. Then you have to log in, see that exact amount, and report it back to the payer to prove you actually own and control that account. Only then do they fully activate the EFT.
Okay, that makes sense from a security standpoint. Now let's talk about the cost. Is this convenience expensive? Do the payers charge the provider to switch to EFT?
Generally, no. That's the good news. Most government payers, Medicare included, and the vast, vast majority of commercial insurance companies do not charge providers to receive payments via EFT.
Why not?
Well, frankly, they prefer it too. It lowers their own costs,
Yeah.
printing checks, envelopes, postage. It's cheaper for them as well.
Okay. But is there a catch?
There's one crucial caveat. You absolutely must check with your own bank.
My bank.
Yes. While the payer likely won't charge you, your practice's bank might have fees for receiving incoming electronic transfers like ACH credits. It's usually small, but you need to confirm that on your end. That fee, if there is one, comes from your bank, not the payer.
Got heads up. Okay, what about practice structure? If the practice uses independent contractors, maybe a contract SLP who bills under their own individual NPI number, can they enroll separately?
Yes, absolutely. The enrollment basically follows whoever is designated as the pay-to entity.
Pay-to entity.
Right. So if the group practice bills everything under its main tax ID number, its TIN, then the EFT enrollment is for the group's bank account. But if an individual contractor, like that SLP, bills under their own NPI and TIN, then yes, they would typically enroll separately for EFT using their own bank details.
Okay.
The key thing there is just close coordination with the main practice billing office to make sure everything is routed correctly and consistently, no matter the setup.
Got it. So let's talk forms. As a busy clinic owner, can I just fill out one beautiful universal EFT enrollment form and blast it out to all 10 of my main insurance payers? Please say yes.
I wish I could, but unfortunately, that's probably the single biggest logistical frustration, and we need to be crystal clear here. No, there is absolutely no universal EFT enrollment form.
Ugh, seriously.
Seriously, because each payer manages their own treasury systems, their own banking relationships independently. You have to enroll with each payer separately.
So I work with 10 payers.
You've got 10 different enrollment processes, likely 10 different forms or online portals to deal with.
Wow, that sounds daunting. How do practices actually manage that level of paperwork?
Well, the smartest approach is usually to leverage partnerships you might already have.
Like who?
Many practices use their billing clearinghouse, or perhaps a central credentialing service they work with. These partners often offer services to help manage and streamline submitting those individual EFT enrollment forms across your whole payer list.
So you offload the busy work.
Exactly. You shift the burden of managing all those different forms and requirements to a centralized expert who does it all the time. It's usually much more efficient.
Okay, that makes sense. So before someone even starts down this road, what basic info should they gather, like a pre-enrollment checklist to have ready?
Good idea. Yeah, get these 5 key identifiers ready because pretty much every payer will ask for them.
Okay, number 1.
The official pay name exactly as it should appear on the payment.
Got it.
Number 2, the tax identification number, whether that's an EIN for the group or potentially a social security number if it's an individual billing under that. 3, the national provider identifier, the MPI. Usually the type 2 NPI for a group, or type 1 for an individual.
NPI, right.
4, the bank routing number for the account where you want the deposits to go.
Routing number.
And 5, the actual bank account number itself.
Account number. Okay, pay name, tiny N, NPI, routing, account. That's 5. Anything else?
Yeah, just be prepared.
Yeah.
Some payers might also require you to submit a signed authorization form, like physically signed.
Okay.
And some might still ask for a physical document for verification, like a scanned image of a voided check, or maybe an official bank letter confirming the account details. Even though it's electronic, sometimes there's still that one piece of paper needed.
Good to know. So just to kind of wrap this all up, we're talking about a fundamental shift, right? Moving from this clunky, high-risk 7 to 30-day paper check cycle to EFT's much more predictable payment within days. It really feels like a massive operational upgrade. You go from chasing paper trails to having secure, auditable, high-speed digital workflows.
Absolutely. That's the core benefit. And if we pull back and look at the bigger picture, the whole industry momentum, driven by needs for better security, better standardization, it's all pushing heavily towards mandatory EFT use. It's becoming the standard.
So waiting is becoming riskier.
I think so. Practices that choose to wait, that stick with paper, they're actively choosing to keep enduring those higher administrative costs, that increased security risk, which leads to, I think, an important final question for you, the listener, to consider.
Okay.
The cost of not switching. It isn't just measured in, dollars lost to maybe bank fees or potential fraud.
Right.
It's also measured in the valuable hours your skilled admin team, maybe even your therapists, are spending on manual tasks when they could have been focused on patient care, improving clinical flow, or driving real practice growth.
That opportunity cost.
Exactly. That opportunity cost is huge. So the question is, how much longer can you really afford to pay that price?